we call them STRs, right? Short-term rentals. What they do is they provide a short-term solution for people looking to stay in a city without having to go to a hotel. Now, hotels are nice, they have systems and they have amenities and everything. It's usually like a la carte. Where a short-term rental comes in is that it provides you an entire home most of the time. Like you have kitchen, stove, parking, all of these things are included, and you get access to the entire home, you and your family. You can stay with multiple people. To get the same bang for buck at a hotel, you're looking at getting a suite. For a real home, you're looking at getting an executive suite or a presidential suite, which can be like $1,000 a night, some $5,000 a night. Whereas at a short-term rental, you're still going to see accommodations from like $200 to $300 to $400 a night, depending on what you're getting. So what it does is it provides an alternative to a hotel. If you want to feel comfortable in a place where it's just you in there, you can invite your family. So that's on the surface. Now on the other side of it is transitional housing. Right now, there is an epidemic of people unable to buy homes or unable to afford houses. The problem is that, you have interest rates that are sky high, and you have wages that are not increasing with property values. So property values are going up, but salaries are not increasing. Back then, with my dad, you could have a blue-collar job in the 70s, and you were making like $60,000, $70,000 in the 70s, right? And you could buy a house in a middle-class neighborhood for $60,000, $70,000 in the 70s. So the home cost was almost equal to the salary of a middle-class person. So I whatever my home costs, I make that in a year. That's normal. That's reasonable. Now, how many people make in a year what their home value is? 1%, 3% of people. I'm not sure of the numbers, but I would say it's a very small percentage. So short-term renting also allows for transitional housing. Utilities are paid. You got internet. You got a furnished home that you can stay while you're trying to figure out where you want to go. And I know a lot of naysayers are going to say, well, you can put down on a home and build equity and this and that. A home to buy for yourself, a home that I'm buying for my family and myself, is a consumer item. Okay, the reason why it's a consumer item is because I cannot deduct any of the expenses of that home on my taxes unless I have a business. Whereas a rental property, everything surrounding that property is tax deductible, and I can produce income with that property. So most people want to buy a home because it's like, oh, we need housing, we need people to live in a certain place. The issue why short-term rental gets a bad rep is for two reasons. They think that short-term rentals are actually affecting the housing supply when they're not. I think it makes up like 3%, 2 to 3% of all housing or less are short-term rentals in the country, in the entire United States of America. Businesses didn't buy homes. Would more homes sell? And the question, it would be less homes would sell because people who would buy those homes, they just wouldn't buy them. And they'll sit on the market and people will say, oh, the property value is going to go down. Yes, but the neighborhood is going to go down as well. When people aren't occupying properties, we just had this issue. We got it on film. When a neighborhood is not occupied, people who want to come up on some theft or break in, try to squat, that's when those issues happen. You want neighborhoods that are occupied by people, whether it's tenants or owners. The economy can't always wait for everyone to be able to afford to buy a home. And I think with the short-term rental, you're able to get into a house, utilities paid while you're thinking about it. Don't have to spend money on furniture, don't have to spend any money on anything except whatever that nightly rate is or monthly rate is. The last thing about short-term rentals is people say that there's a lot of parties, party people, there's a lot of crime that happens in short-term rental areas. The truth of the matter is all of this is false. This is just big media stuff. And I don't knock hotels. I mean, they got to get their business up. They got to promote negative stuff about short-term rentals because Hey, they got to put regulation to stop their competition. That's capitalism. That's a part of it. But I will say that the neighborhoods where all this stuff is happening, like in short-term rentals or crime, it was happening regardless. When you see tons of people outside in the daytime during the week, there's crime. Because they're not working, no jobs. I mean, unless it's like a soccer mom pushing a baby carriage, baby stroller, or people riding bikes and working out. You see just random people walking outside, it's poverty stricken. There's a lot of issues in that community. So you're gonna have theft. So you can't look at a community like that and say, oh, we have short-term rentals here and they're causing the problem. No, there was already theft. There was already crime there. The other thing is management. Owning a short-term rental is kind of easy because Airbnb, which is like the Uber, as Uber is to ride sharing, Airbnb is to short-term rentals. They're the top. So they made it so easy to get into short-term rentals. Anyone can get in. And by making the barrier to entry so small, what they did was they created a window of people who couldn't really manage their operation. They just were in it to get money really quick and get rich. So they let the properties go down. They didn't know how to screen guests. They don't manage situations when they come up, like police gets called. They're too afraid to do anything. So what happens is these types of operators, short-term rental operators, make a bad name for successful and well put together short-term rental operators. Not everyone wants management. We're a management company. We have systems and processes to help take care of some of the things that everyone complains about in the community about short-term rentals. But there are good operators out there who do take care of their properties. The problem is you have a small percentage who are getting pushed out of the game because it's no longer get rich quick. I love it. I love the fact that everyone talks negative about short-term rentals. Everyone's like, oh, it's going to crash. Oh, it's the worst thing ever. It creates such a big, huge opportunity for real business people who are going to get in it and are looking for a 36-month opportunity and not a 2-month payout. So, I say all that to say the short-term rental industry provides a solution for the economy where you can get into a home, utilities paid, furnished, everything, bring your family while you're still waiting for interest rates to go down or while you're stacking up your money to buy a home. You can get in a short-term rental a lot cheaper. You can get all furnished, $3,000 a month, utilities paid. That's pretty decent. And you can do that in a middle-class neighborhood, or what I say C+ or a B- neighborhood, which is not bad. That's my take on it from the data that I've collected over the last 5 years being a short-term rental manager in the 4th largest city in the country.